What's up, landowners, future landowners, and all those people who just randomly discovered this video on the internet? My name is Chris. I am a landowner myself. I am the proprietor of Own Acreage, and I'm here to teach you more about owning land. The topic of discussion will be the questions that you should ask. What are the questions you should ask before you buy a piece of land? Now, if you've purchased land before, a lot of this will come as information you already know. But if you've never bought land, and especially if you've never bought any real estate, like you've never bought a house, these are some good questions to know. So let's get right into it, and I'm here to enlighten you. So you'll see the first question says, how do I know that you're the owner? Now, you might be scratching your head about this. And the reason is, a lot of times we just trust people, but you can't always trust people when you're buying land or buying anything. But with land, a lot of people will buy land based off of some ad they see on the internet, or they get a referral from somebody on Facebook that says, hey, check out this land. And what's being advertised is a piece of real estate, a piece of land, but it's being advertised directly by the owner. So when you're buying land, you really have two options. Option one is to purchase the land with the assistance of a third party. That third party could be an attorney, real estate attorney, or that third party could be a title company, or you could actually use both. I've done that before when buying a house. But if you're using a third party, their job is to ensure that what you're buying is legitimate, to ensure that the person selling the land to you has the authority to sell that piece of land to you. They are the intermediary that protects you, the buyer, and protects the seller. So real estate attorneys, that's all they do all day long, is they deal with legal issues around transactions involving real estate. Title companies, they're even more specialized because all they do is transactions for buying and selling, whereas attorneys might do some other type of litigation or other type of processes for real estate. So if you want to be absolutely sure that the person you're buying the land from is the owner, use a title company. They will do their due diligence to ensure that that person is the rightful owner. And if they make a mistake, they're on the hook. Like, you can always go back to them. They're giving you title insurance so that if something comes up later and you find out that person was not authorized to sell the land, they are providing you an insurance policy that will pay you back. I don't know how all the insurance details work, but you have some form of recourse if you take option one. If you take option two, you're buying directly from an owner. I'm a landowner, I'm a land investor, I sell land. So a lot of people who buy land from me, they're buying it directly from me. We don't use a title company. So you want to make sure that I am indeed the owner of the land that you're buying. And there's several ways that you can go about doing that. And I'm going to just walk you through some of those right now. So first things first is, if I approach you and say, hey, you want to buy my land? And you say, yeah, great. You say, okay, ask me, how do I know that you're the owner of the land? And my response should be, well, you know that I'm the owner of the land because I have a deed that shows I bought this land from XYZ person on this date, and it has my name on it. And I can send you a copy of the deed that shows that I'm the owner of the land. So to put it a different way, you can ask the person who's selling you the land, hey, could you send me a copy of the deed when you purchased the land? I just want to verify that your name is listed as the grantee on the deed. On a deed is a piece of paper that formalizes the transfer of ownership from one person to another person, or one entity to another entity. It's going to have the seller, which on the deed is listed as the grantor, and the buyer, which on the deed is listed as the grantee. So you want to get a copy of that deed and look for the grantee name, and that name should match the person's name who you're talking to. Now, sometimes, like in the instance with me as the seller, the grantee name is not my personal name. It's not the name that my mom and my dad gave me. It's my business name. I buy all of my real estate in a business, through a business. So That's the name that's going to show up as the grantee on the deed that I received when I became the owner of the land. So if I were to send you the deed, you'd see a company name. And then you'd ask me, hey, I see the company name, but I don't see your name. How do I know that you own this company? Well, I would follow up and say, hey, all right, well, my company's registered in this state, and here are the documents from the Secretary of State for that state, which has my company name, the year it was founded, all the documents I filed with the state, and it has my name as the person who's the manager for the company and the owner. So I'll send you the deed, which has my company name as me buying the land, and I'll send you the documentation for my company. Those two things together should give you confidence that I am indeed the owner. But there's a critical piece of information missing. That piece of information is also my ID, because I could, in theory, or anyone could masquerade as the owner of some other company. I could say that I'm John Doe because I know the land is owned by XYZ Corporation. I look on the state of Arizona's website, and XYZ Corporation says the owner is John Doe. I just say, hey, I'm John Doe. Hey, I'm John Doe. Buy the land for me. Send me the money. So I can just make up a name to match what's on the company records. And you'd be like, oh, wow, you say your name's John Doe and it's on the deed and you must be the owner. No, ask me for my photo ID. That should be a passport. That should be a driver's license, something with my face and my name that has, so that you know that I'm the owner. Now, unfortunately, there are people who are con artists and they go through 1,000,001 steps to continue to lie to you. And they will forge a passport. They will forge a driver's license. They will forge a deed. They will forge every document under the sun. And in those instances, you're just kind of screwed. If you come across somebody who's that serious about ripping you off, you're going to get ripped off. The only way to avoid that, use a title company. Title company, they miss stuff too. They get ripped off too. But at least, like I said, you'll have insurance with them. And if anything goes wrong, they're liable, not you. And you'll get your money back, I believe. Last bullet point I kind of touched over was the county recorder. So let's say you don't want to ask the seller, or you're just having trouble getting stuff from the seller, or you're impatient before they send you stuff. Every county, almost every county, a lot of counties in the country, they record who the owners are of property, and that information is public. So you can always just go onto the county website, whatever county you're in. If you're in Phoenix, Arizona, Maricopa County, look for the county recorder's office, see if you can do a property search, type in the property address, the land address, or the parcel number, and look for a copy of the deed. A lot of times that stuff is recorded. I think some states, they don't do it, or some counties don't do it, but most of them do. And you can just pull that information for yourself. You can pull down the deed, the last recorded deed for that piece of land should be the name of the person that you're talking with who says they're the seller. And you should be able to see that information. If their name's not there, or if it says John Doe, and you're like, oh, great, I'm dealing with John Doe. But if it said John and Jane Doe, and you're only talking to John Doe can't sell the land by himself without Jane Doe's approval, his wife, or vice versa. Or it could be something like a trust, meaning that it's owned by an entity that's not the actual person you're talking to. And if you see things like trust or like companies, and you don't want to go through all those extra steps to verify the owner, I would again recommend getting a real estate attorney or using a title company, because they're very skilled at figuring out what's going on and just helping you. You're going to have to pay for them, but you're investing in land. You're investing in your future. Do it the right way, or do it the safe way. If you don't feel confident, get somebody else involved. Okay, next question. How can the land be used? So you've got your eyes locked in on a beautiful piece of land. And in your mind, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to build a skyscraper. And my family and my family's family, which is also your family, they're all going to come and live on this land. And we're going to have a big pond, and there are going to be fish and horses. I think it's plural. It's going to be amazing, right? You have this vision for what you're going to do with your land, which is great. It's one of the reasons you buy land, is to use it. However, not all land is created equal. So you need to verify, in this instance, not with the seller, but with the county, that you can do what you want to do with that land. The county has something called a zoning ordinance. That means once upon a time, a long time ago, the county said, this is our land, and in this area or this part of town, you can do this, and in this part of town, you can do this, but you can't do that over here, and you can't do this over there. And they just set up a bunch of rules as to how the land can be used. It's a little bit more structured than that. And they do update it from time to time. It's not like they set some rules 100 years ago and it hasn't changed. It gets updated. But there's definitely a set of rules that they put in place that tells you how you can and cannot use that land. So you want to, the easiest way is pick up the phone, call your county, wherever the land is located, call their planning and zoning department or something like that. But Google the word zoning in your county and you should see the department that handles that and a phone number, and just call them and say, hey, I'm thinking of buying 123 Main Street. It's 2 acres. And I just wanted to know, I really want to build a ranch and I want to operate a business and I want to come there and I want to hunt and camp on weekends. And then I want to do this and I want to do that. And I want to build a 50-foot fence, and just ask. And hopefully the person on the other end of the phone will say, oh, okay, yeah, actually you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. You can do this, you can do this, and that. And I'll answer your question. So you'll feel reasonably confident that if you buy the land, you can do the things that the person says you can do. They may refer you to what's called the zoning ordinance, which is the published document that gives you the official rules as to what can and cannot be built. I request that you ask for that as well, no matter what the person on the phone says. You could get the intern that's on their first day and they don't really want to be there. And they answer the phone, they'd be like, yeah, you can do that. Man, what? Can you do that? Yes, dog. Build it. Build two. Ain't gonna be no issue. You don't even gotta fill out paperwork, dog. Just start building. No permits. They can just lie to you because they're having a bad day. But check the zoning ordinance. Look for the official documentation to ensure you can do what you want to do, because you would hate to spend tens of thousands of dollars only to find out this land is under a conservatorship. Meaning there's a restriction that says you can't build a thing on here because we have to let the animals frolic. And now you got a piece of land, it's a very expensive, frolicking piece of land. You can't do nothing with it. You don't have to resell it. All right. Also, good idea. Look at the deed for what are called deed restrictions. Deed restrictions will be written in the legal description. A common one you'll see will be regards to mineral rights. Hey, you own this land, but you don't own the oil and the gas below the land. So if you were thinking about, building a gold mine on your land and extracting gold, or, drilling a well and getting rich like Shell, you can't do it. But the deed restrictions will be listed on the deed that will give you some guidelines as to what can and cannot be done. But it's different from the zoning. So you got to check both. Number 3, just a good practice. If you don't know the area and you don't buy a bunch of land, just call a local contractor. So let's say you want to build a cabin. Call a contractor, say, hey, I'm thinking about buying this land over here. I'm trying to get some information about building a cabin. How does your process work? Do you build cabins in this area? Does the county give you a hard time? And that contractor might give you information you would never get by looking on the internet or talking to somebody downtown. They might say, oh yeah, you could build a cabin, but we've tried to build 3 cabins on there and the ground is really doesn't suitable for this, and this, and it's swampy and it's mushy. And I wouldn't even recommend buying it. I had this and that. And they might know some stuff that you'd be like, oh, wow, thank you for telling me that. I'm not going to buy this land anymore. Get it? Let's move on. And I'm going to stop here because this video is long and I have to upload it. Jeez. Okay. Thank you for watching.